And now it's a happy and sad moment. It's sad because this is the last reading of the Frühschoppen this year. It's happy because Silke Scheuermann is reading. And I've been following Silke's work for years. As she's a poet and a novelist. Her two earlier novels, The Hour Between Dog and Wolf and Shanghai Performance, are both really beautiful. And her newest novel is the most beautiful of all, in my humble opinion. Other People's Houses, Die Häuser der Anderen. In the title you can hear an echo of the film title, The Lives of Others, which actually comes up in passing in the book. Silke, among many other awards and activities, she's read at Klagenfurt at the Ingeborg Bachmann Prize festivities. She's a jury member of the Frank O'Connor International Short Story Award. She's currently, and also next year, will be lecturing in poetics at the university in Wiesbaden. And her new book is a novel told in interlocking stories, 9 chapters, each of which is like a short story in its own right, but they interlock into a novel, and all of these stories of characters' lives who they all know each other are set on a very, very ritzy street in a suburb outside of Frankfurt, where half the people who are there don't feel they belong, and most of the things that are told about are not particularly happy stories, but they're told in such a way that the book is oddly funny and joyful, which is very odd. I enjoyed it very much. And thank you so much for coming. And Silke is struggling with a bad cold, and nonetheless she is valiantly here and valiantly reading from her book. So thank you especially for coming out under the circumstances.
This is, I didn't know I would read as last person. Well, it's quite a sad part of the novel, but I have to read it anyway. It's about Dorothy, who is not doing well after her husband died. Und ja, der Unterschlupf. Ich sitze auf dem Sofa, habe das Licht nicht angemacht, als ich von meinem Nachmittagsschlaf aufgewacht bin, obwohl es draußen inzwischen dunkel geworden ist. Habe den Kühlschrank auch so gefunden. Die Straßenlaterne ist hell genug. Ich ziehe an meiner Zigarette. Nach 2 Bier stehe ich auf und hole ein drittes. Irgendwann schalten sie sowieso den Strom ab. So gewöhne ich mich schon mal dran, sage ich zu Benno. Stoßen wir darauf an, dass es nicht so bald sein wird. Nein, mir wird das einfallen. Frauchen ist nicht blöd. Ich trinke. Asche auf dem Boden. Der Hund sieht mich vorwurfsvoll an. Ich würde ihn gerne auf die Straße lassen, wo er herumrennen und alles anpinkeln kann, aber das geht nicht. Er würde zu Luisas Haus zurücklaufen und die Nachbarn auf den Plan rufen. Benno ist nicht mein Hund. Ich bekomme Geld für das, was sie seine Pflege nennen. Ich achte immer darauf, dass sie mich beim Gassigehen in einem guten Zustand sehen. Ganz lieb spiele ich auf den Wiesen direkt hinter Luisas Haus mit ihm und seinem Stöckchen, und wenn sie und ihr Mann von der Reise zurück sind und dezent ihre Erkundigungen einholen, werden sie nur Gutes über mich hören. Ich drücke die Dose zusammen, hole noch eine. Es ist die letzte, ich muss gleich raus. Beschließe jetzt ganz langsam zu trinken. Mache erst noch mal den Fernseher an. Der Hund winselt. Er ist ein ganz schlauer. Laufender Fernseher heißt, so schnell passiert hier gar nichts mehr. Ich erkläre ihm, dass es hier nicht um den Film geht. Ist nur Unterhaltung beim Biertrinken. Ich sage ihm, dass ich meine Mindestdosis brauche. Erwähne auch, dass es an seiner Hundehoheit höchstpersönlich liegt, dass ich nichts Stärkeres daheim habe. Dann ging es schneller. Aber Fürsorgepflicht und so. Was passiert, wenn ich einschlafe und erst am nächsten Tag wieder aufwache? Was geschieht dann mit ihm? Na also. Guck doch mal die schöne Tiersendung, Süßer. Affen, da in dem Kasten. Etwa 5 Minuten lang ist Benno beeindruckt von meiner Rede. Hört sogar mit dem Gewinsel auf. Nach einer Weile beginnt er, an der Tür zu kratzen. Ich denke, vielleicht muss er einen Haufen machen. Das kann ich in der Wohnung echt nicht gebrauchen. Es sieht hier schon seit einer Weile nicht mehr besonders toll aus. Aber es gibt eine Grenze. Der Forscher sagt gerade, Gorillas sind wie alle Affen nicht stubenrein, sie müssen ihre Schlafplätze täglich neu bauen. Als ob er bei mir ins Wohnzimmer schauen könnte, wo ich mit Benno die gleichen Probleme habe wie die Gorillas. Naja, ungefähr. Benno ist ja stubenrein. Ich schalte aus, obwohl es mich interessiert hätte, was der Forscher mit neu bauen meint. Ziehen Sie andauernd um oder was? Mehrmals am Tag? Vielleicht wird die Sendung morgen im Vormittagsprogramm wiederholt, dann werde ich besser zuhören.
I'm sitting on the couch. I'd like to let him out into the street where he could run around and pee on everything, but that's out of the question. He'd go running to Luisa's house and alert the neighbors. Benno isn't my dog. I get paid for what they call his care. Whenever I take him for a walk, I'm always careful that people see me in the best possible light. I play nicely with him and his little stick in the meadow right behind Luisa's house. And then, when she and her husband come back from their trip and make their discreet inquiries, they'll hear only good things about me. I crush the empty beer can and get another one. It's the last one. I'll have to go out soon. I decide to drink this one very slowly. First, though, I turn on the TV. The dog whines. He's clever. TV on means nothing's going to happen very soon. I explain to him that I'm not planning to watch a film, just something to pass the time while I'm drinking my beer. I tell him that I need my minimum dose. I also mention that it's his own canine highness's fault that I don't have anything stronger in the house. If I did, it would happen more quickly. Duty, etc. What would happen if I fell asleep and only woke up the next day? What would happen to him then? So you see. Look at that nice animal program, sweetie. Monkeys. They're in a box. For about 5 minutes, Benno is impressed by my speech. He even stops whining. After a while, though, he begins to scratch at the door. Maybe he has to poop, I figure. And I really couldn't stand it if he did that in the apartment. It's been looking pretty awful in here for a while now. But there's a limit. The scientist is just saying gorillas, like all apes, aren't housebroken. They have to rebuild their sleeping places every day. As if he could see into my living room here, where I seem to be having the same problems with Benno as the gorillas. Well, almost the same. Benno, after all, is housebroken. I turn it off, even though I would have liked to know what the scientist meant by rebuild. Do they keep moving around all the time? More than once a day? Maybe they'll repeat the program tomorrow morning. Then I'll listen more carefully. I put on Frank's old heavy parka, a piece of clothing you can live in, which unfortunately doesn't smell like him anymore. With Benno on the leash, I take the shortcut to the meadows. It goes past 2 kiosks that sell booze, but not my favorite one. It's better that way. The cold air will soon sober me up. I walk rapidly past the black facades of the buildings. Even in the darkness that swallows everything, you can still tell whether the people living behind them are well off or not. There's the arrogant, cold blackness of happy, emotionally dulled middle-class residents, and the hopeless, contagious blackness of the apartment houses with small, bare windows. The area where I live is one with apartment houses. Glatzenviertel. Sounds like a mixture of Glatz, bald, and Atzen, disgusting. Gallus is a real estate paradise by comparison. The windows here are like black holes. Now and then somebody pops out of one of them. You'll never know whether it's because he's depressed or high, and in the end, it doesn't really matter. 15 minutes away by foot, it all looks different. The entire street, Kummelgraben, including the house we used to live in, belongs to people whose blackness is of the arrogant sort. Was it different before when we lived there? I can't really tell what has changed. Was I a different person? I dropped the thought. I don't know the tenants, but they're probably, like all the rest of the people here, ambitious people who've made it not really young anymore. It was the Building Society savings plan that made it possible, or else the people inherited. After Frank's accident, his mother took back our house. He only had the right of lifetime residence, but he never told me that. Nor did he tell me about the financial difficulties of the studios since the crisis, and that quite a few members were no longer paying. He didn't want to upset me. I used to go to pieces over every idiotic thing, and he was protecting me. And naturally, being only 42, he hadn't made a will. He was so generous. We rarely talked about money. His mother, on the other hand, is cold as ice. She never did like me, and for her, the only good thing that came from the death of her son was that after the 3 months she granted me as a period of mourning, she could kick me out of the house. "Let's face it," she said to the man in court. "She's just going to drink it all up." As if I weren't even present. And then, totally serious, she had shown him the wedding picture of Frank and me to prove to him how far downhill I'd gone in those few years. "I'll put in an application for a course of treatment for her," she said. The hypocrite. And the official at the court nodded sympathetically. The poor mother who's lost her son and has to deal with the fortune-hunting alcoholic daughter-in-law. Weeks later, a bundle of application forms arrived for me from the pension fund. No message enclosed. The devil only knows how she found out about my pension fund. Presumably, I left something behind when I moved out of the house. I didn't take a lot with me. And I'd never have gone back to the Kuhlmühlgraben neighborhood if it hadn't been that I was still casually in touch with Louisa, who gets me jobs now and then. But on the whole, we were never really that close. She came by for the first time after Frank's death on some pretext to check up on me because she likes tragic stories and loves to play Mother Teresa. I'm afraid that her sympathy wore out over the years. By now, she sees me only as a burden. But I can't let go of her. Not merely because she's the only one who knows that I ever had an earlier, different life. No one else would believe it. But I've also grown to like her. She's so flawless, like a beautiful little machine that all by itself solves self-imposed tasks to perfection. I light a cigarette, pushing away the thought that Louisa would prefer it if I never went to her place anymore. It was my idea to volunteer to take care of Benno for the 6 weeks they would be away, and to take care of her plants and the mail. Yes, I'd suggested it, and no one mentioned that money was involved, a few small bills. She had hesitated a long time before she reluctantly said yes. Life goes on, I told Benno, who was pulling like crazy on the leash. You know, that's what they say. But sometimes I think it's not true. Life doesn't go on. It only pretends to. Everything around us is a facade, a pretense, and worthless.
See, doesn't that make you want to eat something? That was a translation by Margot Dembo. I'd like to thank all of our authors for coming and reading for us, and Jocelyn and Andrew for reading. Thanks so much.